is there a switch that I can turn this off with so it doesn't, or should I just point it away?
We need it on for people with hearing issues, yeah.
All right.
Are you going to sing or something?
I was not planning on
Oh.
that.
We'll give extra points for it.
I'm not sure you want me to do that. Hello, I'm Jack Morrison. Before I start my main point, I must mention a prerequisite to understanding this speech. You must have been alive at some point in the past. Life here being defined as the medical functioning of a body and the social interaction that invariably follows. Everybody's been alive? Good. Then I can continue. When I was thinking of potential topics, one came to me and stuck through every other idea or scrap of inspiration that I had. Life. Put simply, this speech will apply the Rotary four-way test to life in its entirety. What else but life can I guarantee that all of you have experienced? And what else but life needs such careful examination? The Rotary four-way test is a practical way to examine life in general. The first tenet of the test that I want to cover is the question, will life build goodwill and better relationships? Life can be complicated. We win friends and we lose them. We make enemies and we reconcile with them. But one of the things that we can hope for is that in the course of our lives, we win more friends than we lose, and we keep more connections than we burn. Therefore, it is the general goal of most every human being to build goodwill and better relationships. But life can be a two-edged sword. It is also the only way to experience malcontent and failed relationships. The final conclusion that we can draw from this is that life is fickle, but generally builds more than it destroys. This fickleness and the doubt it creates as to the trust that can be placed in life leads me to the next tenet of the test. Is life the truth? I say no. Life is not the final thing out there. It is not the ultimate truth that humans can experience. This is by no means universally accepted, but I firmly believe in an afterlife, an infinite existence after death. Basically, our mortal lifespan is outweighed by an infinitely long afterlife. Thus, life fails this part of the Rotary four-way test. It is not the truth, but it is better that it isn't. If life were the final truth, then death would be the final end to all things. And what would we, as humans, leave behind us? A nice patch of grass on our graves, a few possessions, maybe even a kid or two. But if there is an afterlife, then what we are as humans isn't ultimately irrelevant. Ourselves, our souls if you wish, will not perish with death. But then the question is raised as to why we live at all. And that relates to another pillar of the four-way test. Will life be beneficial to all concerned? Frankly, the answer to that question depends on the content of your life. A life devoid of purpose, of beliefs, of a driving force might as well have not been lived. It isn't beneficial to the person who had it, as he just ends up dead, and no past action of his can change his current state. And a life devoid of purpose certainly isn't beneficial to others, as nobody can learn from a person who refuses to stand for something. But if somebody stands for something greater than themselves, they can overcome this. A person with conviction can foster that conviction in others. Thus, a life can be beneficial to all concerned, but only if it carries the belief that leads to eternal life after death. The majority of today's American society will claim that this requirement is not fair. But I will say this: whoever claimed that life was fair? The next test of the Rotary four-way test asks if life is fair to all concerned. I say that it definitely is not. If there was some system of cosmic karma, an inherent fairness in the world, wouldn't everyone who killed a man be dead themselves? An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Examples of life's injustices can be seen if you just look around. Here's a few. This past year, a student at my high school died in a car crash coming back from a hangout at band camp. An 8th grade student succumbed to leukemia, dead before most of her classmates knew that there was a problem. A mother of 3 students in the Hilliard district died of cancer 20 days before Christmas. Did these people deserve to die? Did the people that they loved deserve to be left with their memory but not their presence? No, life is not fair. And that brings me back to what I said about life not being the final truth. As C.S. Lewis said, "Has this world been so kind to you that you should leave it with regret? There are far better things ahead than any we leave behind." The fact that death isn't the end, that this life isn't the final truth, is one of the most comforting things that any human can believe. Life is the most important thing that we will experience on this earth. It consumes our every moment, but rarely does the average man sit down and apply a set pattern of logic to it. The application of the Rotary 4-way test to life in general shows the general failure of life for its own sake to adhere to the tenets of the test. Will life build goodwill and better relationships? No. Life can build goodwill, but it can also destroy. Is life the truth? No, life is not the final truth for humanity. Is life fair to all concerned? No, it isn't fair to everyone. And finally, will life be beneficial to all? No, it will not. Even though life fails the test, applying the test reveals a way of thinking that is different from your normal day-to-day one. But this way of thinking is just words and ideas. It won't matter unless people choose to believe it. Thank you.